because you're not in the fucking story there.
Welcome to
John,
Stories of Brisco and
John,
Bradshaw.
okay.
I would be Bradshaw, and that would be your Chickasaw native, your Chickasaw Hall of Famer, Oklahoma's favorite son, Mr. Gerald Brisco. And we have got the former cruiserweight champion, tag team of the year. He's a certified G and a bona fide stud, and you can't teach that. He is Enzo, our friend. Enzo, welcome to the show.
Hey, bada boom, realest guy in the room, man. I am so lucky to be here with you guys today. Right before we got on this thing, we were talking about FCW and some of your buddies, Steve Kern, that I got to spend a lot of time with. Really cool part of my career, man.
Yeah, you just shared the story with John and I. Let's share it with our audience here about your ring crew days. And, some of the guys, Angelo Dawkins was on the ring crew with you.
Oh,
Steve didn't
shit,
care
yeah.
who you were. You were Chris Christopher's son, Jody, was on the ring crew with you.
Yeah,
So
man.
tell us a couple of stories about that, the good
So
old days.
the way it would work, man, when you first got signed in FCW, since they've gotten rid of Road Team or hired other people in different departments to get that part of the job done. But when I started in FCW, in order to pay your dues, so to say, they put a road team together. So every single Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and different days during the week, you would have to, after practice, go in the car and drive to Jacksonville, Florida, drive to fucking Fort Pierce, Florida, drive to Miami, Dade County, wherever, Pensacola, wherever we were doing it. Your doom was on a piece of paper when you went into the board and you walked into FCW, and to the left, they had the road team assignments, and sometimes you had to drive fucking. So Lord knows I was never got off road team. I was just saying they never, when you're Finn Balor and you walk through the door, you're never doing fucking road team. When you're Enzo and the stadium's going nuts, you're waking up the next day at 8 a.m. and going to do fucking road team. You know what I'm saying? They kept me humble during the process. They never let me feel like I was somebody. And I did road crew the whole fucking time, bro. And what it is, you hit the road, stop putting the posters up in the towns that you're gonna be in. You go, they got different businesses that are A-okay with it. They called ahead of time. There's gas stations and telephone poles, and you just land, just every bit of it. You just blast the town's windows and gas stations and shit with the posters for the show. I'll never.
That's the old school promotion. That's how Steve learned,
Hey man, it still works to this day. We do it at Fourth Road.
work.
Like it's
Hey,
still.
there's nothing more. I mean, I got family across the state of Florida there, and there's nothing more exciting for me. I'll pull up. I'm out Highway 50. Nothing around. You see a telephone pole there. You look over there. Wrestling next week. Man, that's cool. They're still doing the same thing today, Enzo. So that's so awesome, man. My son was on that ring crew too. I told you too. Alfred. Steve had an assistant called Alfred. Alfred did the promotion for Steve, and he would give you all the cards. Okay, you got to go paper this town. So it's all right. Put them on business, put them on right of ways, all that stuff. So still one day West did it. They put out 500 of those damn cards. Steve got a call. Hey, this is the code enforcement. You guys, I'll have to fine you $1,000 unless you guys get them up by sunset. And about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, they called West. You got to go to such town and remove those posters, or they're going to fine me $1,000. So he got to get in his car and drive over. And of course, they did rattle Alfred out, because Alfred was their bread and butter. They got a couple extra bucks for doing it. So.
Oh yeah, bro. Well, you know what? That was the thing, dog. You got to be a finesser, and I'll tell you straight up, the guy you just mentioned, Alfred, one of the people that saved my life in this business. But Alfred was essentially the promoter of FCW before it got
Right,
taken
yeah, he
over and
was,
became
yeah,
NXT. And FCW out there on Dale Mabry, right there by the Gandy
right,
Bridge, we had Alfred, Dusty Rhodes, Steve Kern, right? They were the old
right,
guard that was still,
right.
running the building, running the show. And Alfred came in because he used to do all the paper and print, and he had all the pictures and the green screen and the 8x10s for the wrestlers, and he could get pictures. And he did that for Dusty Rhodes, Steve Kern, for so many years. By the time he was doing it for FCW, the gimmick was, when I was in FCW, is that you wanted to get over with Alfred, because Alfred would invite a few of the boys every single week to drive in his car. And when
Yeah.
he drive, he showed up when he showed up, he left when he left, and he would take you out to dinner on a
Right.
ride, pay for your meal. So we were broke. We were making, I started out at $600 a week in the WWE.
Yeah.
And when you would get a ride with Alfred, you didn't have to pay for fucking gas. He would take you out to eat after. He got over with the promoter, you know what I'm saying? So Alfred was tight with Steve, and Steve would also invite a guy or two to ride with him, usually a referee because they would ride the ring truck. And bro, me and Alfred are still close to this day. I'm still
Great,
very close. I go to his
great
ice
guy.
cream shop in St. Pete. He's got an
Yeah.
ice cream shop in St. Pete. I wish I knew the name of it so I could plug it to you people. But Alfred's got some of the best wrestling stories going, man. He was there for a lot of bullshit in Florida for,
Yeah.
for some fucking crazy shit with Dusty Rhodes and all you guys, man.
Yeah, you're right. He was basically the promoter there for Steve on it for FCW, and he had when Steve, Dusty, and Mike Graham had the little company that they did. He Alfred was that's how they got hooked up with Alfred at an advertising company, and he went to work for him. But Alfred give you the shirt off his back. He was one of those really cool
Best
guys.
dude ever. And his fucking walk
Yeah,
was hilarious. He would walk and
yeah,
slap his own ass every like 5 or 6 steps. Yeah, the
yeah.
boys would impersonate it as much as anybody. And he would walk with his hand and his other hand in his back pocket. Oh man, he was a cat.
What characters were down there? I mean, you had
I
some of the
mean,
finest people in the world working out there.
he was unbelievable, Alfred, bro. He had a thing where he would just walk into the kitchen of every restaurant that we went to and find out what the fuck was going on. Like, what's taking so long? And it would never be, we'd be sitting there, we'd be waiting 10 minutes, and he'd be like, what's going on? And he'd go snoop around the kitchen. And like anytime anybody's in the kitchen, he'd be like, fucking get the fuck out. And he'd cause an uproar and get us kicked out of places. He was fucking hilarious.
Yeah,
But yeah, he was a hey, shout out Alfred, man. He helped a lot of the boys out, bro. A lot of us
that
got helped out by Alfred, financially. And to your point, right? I got to learn how, so look, I saw an opportunity because I wasn't on the card wrestling to work with Alfred because a lot of the boys didn't want to be out there and watch the show in a security shirt that was yellow that said staff on it, right?
Sav, yeah.
They want to be in the back watching it at the monitor, watching the critiques of the matches, watching the producers right outside the curtain. And so I felt like, bro, if I sell merch, I'll get to meet every single fan hand to hand, person to person. And I was so honest about the fact, hey, I've never had a match before. I'm just trying to make it here. I'm like, hey, when you guys see me out there, you're going to know me and you're going to be cheering me. I ain't got a name yet. And by the time I got a name, Enzo, the fans were so excited for me because I had met them all selling
Wow.
tickets and doing t-shirts for Alfred. Alfred made me his guy. So I'm just personable and I'm just working the front door. And now I'm doing tickets and I'm doing merchandise and I'm meeting every single person in Florida and all these towns. By the time me and Cass popped up in NXT, the fans already were cheering for us because they knew I was just peddling tickets a few weeks ago trying to get on the show. So it really made life easy for me, the fans in Florida. I had the greatest fans, man, and the people that were there at that time got to witness something, much like you see in territories over the years. Like WWE kind of brought a territory back to Florida when they created NXT and
Right.
took over Florida Championship Wrestling. And if they're running shows in the same towns over and over and storylines are carrying out, and they all congregate in Orlando to watch us for our tapings that come once a month. So it was really like, dude, just timing. As I was saying earlier in the business, like I got a calendar year of FCW
Wow.
where, don't sit in the wrong guy's chair. You know what I mean? Coaches with no cameras. There was no cameras. You could beat the shit out of somebody. I didn't think it was, I thought you were supposed to, I didn't understand. I was green. I was like, you're supposed to get your ass kicked. You're supposed to get beat up. This is the WWE. It's not
Yeah.
supposed to be easy. You should be like people should. They were taking advantage of me, but I had no idea. And when you're learning how to get body slammed, people are going to put you through the mat those first few body slams and make you want to quit this business. Back when I got in, when they give you a buckle, they sent you into the fucking buckle. When they brought a clothesline, they tried to take your fucking head off because you never
Yeah,
wrestled.
JBL clothesline, in other words.
You never wrestled before. Like, who do you think you are walking through the door here? You never wrestled in your life, and you're going to come into our business and fucking eat on our plate. Like, no, it wasn't made easy for me, but that was the way that I thought it was supposed to be. By the time you get to working with guys who are veterans and you're in the ring and you're, working with a Bubba Ray Dudley and he punches his own hand and doesn't hit you. And you're like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? Like, it was a different game. And they made it very different.
Yeah.
Different now because they got these college
Yeah.
recruits, they got cameras in every room, they've got 8 rings and they're all under a magnifying glass and everybody's busting their ass and they got a giant fucking weight room and they got athletic trainers and ice baths and probably saunas and shit. It's just a spectacle to be seen now. And timing is everything in life. I came in at a time where there was Dusty Rhodes and Steve fucking Kern. You know, it's just
Yeah.
when the fuck when you can't get that anymore.
You're on one of the last FCW crews, right? Who all was in your crew? Because you guys had a real talented crew down there. I think you guys were the last crew before it went
the
to
guys
NXT,
that came in at the time from they had Ring of Honor was Tyler Black, became Seth Rollins. Corey Graves was a wrestler in Ring of Honor that was, kind of like a champion. Tyler Breeze, at that time, where these were the top guys. But then you had your Roman Reigns, John Moxley, Drew McIntyre, Fandango, me, Wyndham, Bray Wyatt, the whole family that was, Eric Rowan and Luke Harper and the New Day, Xavier Woods and Big E, me, Big Cass, FTR, Scott Dawson and FTR back then, Charlotte Flair, Sasha, Becca, Bailey, Becky, Bailey, Alexa Bliss, Liv Morgan. We had so many talent that I'm just
the Bellas were with you guys too,
I'm
right?
forgetting probably so many names, but everyone that you see that's primarily on TV, that has over the past decade, made an impact more or less has come through NXT. So at a time where I came in, it was FCW. It became NXT. During the NXT phases, our first champions were Big E Langston, Seth Rollins, I think Corey Graves. We brought in Adrian Neville, Samoa Joe, Finn Balor. You had Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens and all these names that came into NXT. I was at FCW with the guys I mentioned. By the time the other names of Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Samoa Joe, they were pretty much poached from the TNAs of the world. They had James Storm come in and do a little run there at NXT that was very brief. And they had a handful of names come through, like RVD wrestled Neville, Pac. That was a really big deal for us at the time to get to bring in at the WWE when Vince was at the helm. We didn't really work outside with any other companies. And so to have a guy who was a free agent, so to say, come in our doors and wrestle for the NXT title against Neville, I remember at the time with RVD, that was a big fucking deal for us. And you know what's so funny about that old school shit that we were talking about, bro? Alpha was running territory in Florida.
Right.
And in NXT, before it was NXT, we were FCW. And in FCW, it was at a time where Wes was there. It was slightly before I got there, but I knew it happened and I had heard all about it. But the last real indie that had a run-in with a WWE promotion was because Vince hadn't touched anybody for fucking years. And he still didn't. And no one even knows this fucking happened. But Awful was running a show in Florida and he saw posters up for NXT in a town. And he called Linda McMahon. So his wife called fucking Linda and was like, "Who the fuck do you think you are running our town? You got NXT posters all over Florida." And then Vince called Offa, made it straight, and they sent FCW talent to go do a run-in on their show to set up an angle where some of their guys were featured on an FCW show.
Wow.
The fact that fucking Offa's wife
That's a
can
great story.
pick up the phone and get to the fucking, Secretary of State or whatever she was at the time with the cabinet, get to her and tell her, "Hey, who do you think you are running in our town over here in Florida?"
Yeah,
And Vince
that's
made it right.
hilarious.
So that was funny shit, man, but that's true shit that happened.
Well, we jumped ahead a little bit, but tell us how you got the wrestling bug and what made you decide, this is what I want to do.
Honestly, man, I had a Shawn Michaels tattoo when I was like 17.
I tattoo
17.
where? Where'd you have the Shawn
Right
Michaels
here, man.
tattoo?
It's still there. I got the
Okay.
Shawn Michaels heart, baby.
What year was
All
Uh,
that?
right.
when I did that, probably 2005. So my
Yeah.
senior year in high school, I had got some tattoos when I was 17 with my parents' permission, and then I would go back to that same guy without telling my parents, and that guy would give me more tattoos. So, I added the green later in life, but yeah, I loved. So when I was a kid, I didn't have a blanket. I had a Shawn Michaels action figure. Like I fucking dragged that thing around with me, and damn man, to me it was.
Where was this at, Enzo?
I was born in 86, and by the time 92 hit, I was 5 years old and fully could not keep my eyes off of pro wrestling by the time I was five. And the way that I find that a lot of that shit works and bad things happen to younger kids and like we go on a different path is because we got some asshole friends who got older brothers. And the older brothers are always the ones who introduce the bad things to the younger brother, and then
Of
that gets
course.
introduced to the friends. So we had some older brothers who loved wrestling and loved wrestling action figures on my block. And they would always play with them. And I was a little kid, I didn't know what they were. And I went home and I knew that I had a Jake the Snake action figure, Hasbro, with the hand that went like this and punched. And I was like, my friend's playing with all those toys out in front of his house. So I'm going to go run home, get my toy that looks like his, and bring it to the ring. And then Jake the Snake Roberts became my fucking guy, and I loved him to death. But when Shawn Michaels won that Royal Rumble, man, like I had the Jake the Snake when he would send the snake on Macho Man. I had it on a VHS and I would play it up until the point where it bit Macho Man, and then I would turn away and I would like freak out and I would ask my aunt, "Is it over? Is it over? Is it over?" Well, I was
Wasn't that the most brutal thing you ever seen on TV at that point there? I
when
mean,
I was
That was crazy.
I was there friggin' live, and it just terrified me.
that was it, bro. That was it. I was sold. I had an action figure with that guy and his snake, and then I could go play with it.
Damien, by the way, right?
Hey,
Yeah, man.
Jerry, you were there, and what were people thinking about? They're going to have an actual freaking cobra bite somebody.
Oh, John, it was wild, man. And back when they brought that Cobra in, I mean, the dressing room just, how Jake could bring a snake in, throw it in the shower, turn
Oh
the
yeah, it
shower
was.
on.
He didn't want to go in that
Yeah,
shower.
you didn't want to go in the shower. When this Cobra came in, man, you didn't even want to go in the dressing room, man. And don't worry, it's deep thing. It don't matter, man. It's a Cobra damn snake. And everybody was just terrified of it. And Randy, I've never seen Randy sweat so much in all my life. And I've known Randy since
He's
Randy
about to get
Papa.
bit by a real
And
cobra.
by a damn real live cobra and a 4 foot one at that. He asked me 1,000 times, "Are you sure that thing?" I said, "Randy, I got to tell you the truth. I don't know. I'm scared to death." And
Well,
so I'd work the shit out of it too with it, man.
I've heard the story from Jake told on like the internet and on a podcast that
Yeah.
that Randy made him make the snake bite himself.
Bite him
So
first, yeah.
bite him
But
first.
then the snake panicked out in the ring, though, and wouldn't let go. Wouldn't let go. He'd let go of Jake, probably because of all the alcohol and everything coming into his damn mouth. But he wouldn't let go of Randy, man.
So the snake was drunk, is what you're saying.
The snake
Oh,
got drunk before he went out
could
to the
you
ring,
imagine some
man.
of that? Some of that Jake the Snake Roberts blood
Yeah.
at that
So
time.
you
That
got
thing
a
was hopped up by a guy through the ring.
you got a drunk cobra in the ring.
Yeah. Go bite your superstar, man.
Oh wow, that's good
No
shit.
wonder Randy was sweating so much, huh?
Hey, Jerry, when you can think about it, you say, well, the snake wouldn't let go. The snake really wasn't a worker. I don't know if y'all knew that, but the snake really wasn't a
No.
worker.
I was the
It's a
promoter.
fucking snake.
I was that promoter of the show, John.
It's funny. We sit here and we're talking about Jake, and I was just talking to my girl today because I have a picture in my room with Jake the Snake Roberts and half of his 8x10, and it's ripped, but it's like behind a frame. And my girl was like, "Why do you have that the way it is? Like it's just kind of on." And I was like, "Because behind that picture is Jake the Snake's fucking phone number, and he ripped one of his 8x10s and wrote his phone number on it and just handed it to me at my first meet and greet that I met him at on the Indies." And I was like, I've kept it ever since in a fucking frame. Just you can't see it on the other. It doesn't have an autograph, but on the other side of the picture is this fucking phone number on a marker. I thought it was the coolest fucking thing in the world. That the first time I fucking met Jake Roberts, he came up to me and he's like, kid, and he just handed me his number, and I was it's still one of the coolest fucking things that ever happened, bro.
You know, there are certain guys.
Him and Sean were my guys.
There's certain guys who are just legends. Jake's just a legend. I mean, there's something about Jake Roberts. I mean, that man's not normal in a good way.
Oh,
In a
bro, he
good
used
way,
to
yeah.
say like he woke up every day as God was ribbing him. Like, what the fuck's going on? Like he's outliving everybody. He said it's mind blowing. And I just love Jake. I got to know him pretty well through DDP. DDP brought me down to his house. I stayed down there at a time. Big Cass was struggling with some very open about his issues and was working with DDP and all the people that they work with that, they make videos and they show you, resilience and people that have come back from terrible, addiction, and Big Cass did that. And that video's out there for anybody who wants to see it. It's awesome. At that time, I got to know Jake pretty well, and I got to know Cass, and I sat at DDP's house. It's funny, he would have a fucking bar loaded to the gills, DDP, right? With looked like rainbow. It was just all these seltzers that were just every flavor seltzer you could ever fucking imagine in your life, right? And they're like these healthy seltzers. But when you're just with the boys and you're standing around and you're talking and you look back when by the time the night's over, that there's just a fucking garbage can loaded to the gills with all of these seltzers because they're just sound of a can or something. It's just magnetizing. And we would just pound like we'd just go out back and there'd be like 20 seltzers just shit canned by the time we were done talking shit and talking shop. And man, God bless DDP and Jake, man.
He's a saint.
Don't
He's
get
a saint
mad.
for what he's done for DDP or for Jake and the other guys
And hey,
for
my
Enzo's
partner
sake.
Big Bill on
Yeah.
AEW TV, you guys can find him. That's what he goes by now, Big Bill, formerly Big Cass. Um, and like that was a comeback story in and of itself. I said, like, I remember with Cass, the first time we ever got on TV, it was like the biggest thing that ever happened was in our fucking lives. And we had worked so hard in NXT and at our time, like that was the culmination of our life's work in a moment's time. We get to debut on WWE main roster to like, a crowd ovation against the Dudley Boys, who we watched growing. It was just crazy. So we worked so hard for that moment, right? And then it was such a big deal for us. And then I said to Cass, when he debuted on AEW, it wasn't under contract. He came in, he got back on TV though, right? And he looked like $1 million fucking bucks when he came through the
Yeah, he
curtain.
did. He looked tremendous.
Was And it wasn't about the match that he had. He lost in like, 5 minutes to Wardlow at the time. And, but the booking, it wasn't about the booking. It wasn't about the story. It wasn't about the cold match. It wasn't about no microphone, just go to the ring. It was about, dude, I hit him up and I'm like, bro, you just got back on fucking TV. And it's so much sweeter this time around than it was for us then. And it's so different. And it's not what it was. And it should never be that. And we can't compare apples to oranges. But when I look at him and I see him and he makes that comeback, that real life comeback, not that fucking, we wrote a script and you guys go out there and delivered it. And there was a fucking world that was happy to see you. Like, no, this was the world that, maybe shunned you away, that you hid from for so long that now you have the courage to stand out there, take this booking, lose this match, fuck, it don't matter, but get back on TV. To me, was like the culmination of like
Awesome.
just amazing. Just unbelievable. So he's still a comeback story to this day. I honestly don't know what he does in AEW. I can't say that I pay attention or watch his show. We still talk. We talk every week. It's mostly in a group chat about fucking sports. It's a fantasy football, group chat, and there's a lot of talking shit. And I also talked to Cass today about 15 times in a group chat with another guy named Doug, who helped see Big Cass through some of those terrible times and helped get me into the business again because I never worked on the indies and I had no plans on it. When I got out of WWE, I quit, quote unquote. I retired, whatever you want to say. When Big Cass went to rehab, a guy, Doug, was seeing him through that process, trying to get him back on his feet. And Doug Lawson is well, he does a lot of things, but he works with Michael Strahan, Deion Sanders, and Ray Lewis. And he met Big Cass at an autograph signing for NFL football players that Cass was at. And he walked up to him and he's like, dude, you look fat, out of shape, and a shell of the guy I used to see on TV. And I loved you and Cass. And Cass bowed up like, I'm going to whip your ass. And the guy, next thing you know, Cass calls me and I hadn't talked to him in a year plus. And I picked up the phone and he told me he was going to see that guy in Delaware, Doug, and go to stay with him and train with him. And it just so happened that he had a seizure when he came to House of Hardcore in Philly trying to cold turkey alcohol. And then next thing you know, he's in rehab and he's staying with this guy Doug, and all that shit happens. Next thing you know, me and Cass are in Doug's wedding. Me and Doug are in Cass's wedding with DDP's stepdaughter, Lexi. And we're just in this matrix that involves all of these people and the story, the being on the outs and having to watch it all. It was such a wild time because it was pro wrestling at its finest. It's the story of Enzo and Cass. It's a rise and a fall, and it's watching alcohol and addiction and all of those things that come along with this business and the days of old that are probably they've had a reckoning because they do have incredible people at the top of their card who are like Seth Rollins, who are dedicated to their body, and Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn and CM Punk, who don't drink and don't do alcohol and never have done drugs, and they really promote a different product and a different tier of athlete. Bringing in these NCAA people, these NIL deal people, these people that are of the new guard, and as the way it should be probably when you're bringing in the premium athletes, the top of the line guys. Like look at a Trick Williams and the way he's been able to come from the NFL background and translate to the people. And you take a celebrity, and you implement them into the fray. There's so much going on in the business. The doors are wide open. There's so much opportunity, but it is not the business of old. And the old guard is kind of lost. In the days of hitting the town with the boys in NXT when we first started, tearing that town a new asshole. The social media has gotten to a point with cameras and all the things that I went through, including with, all these things that happen to people nowadays. You're guilty before you're even proven anything. You never even see a day in court and you're on a trial by a jury on the internet. So
Yeah,
exactly.
you can't just compare those days that you guys experience. You guys are dinosaurs, and we are the fucking we're the animals that were lucky to live. At the start when the dinosaurs were fucking dying off, because those guys that we got to witness when I got into the locker room, the Undertaker was still the head of the locker room, and I'm probably the last wrestler to ever get pulled aside and get a talking to from Taker.
what was it about?
Oh shit. Oh man.
Yeah, you don't have to tell. It was
Well,
first.
I was 5 minutes early for the bus, which means you're fucking 10 minutes late. You know what I'm saying? And that might have been the second or third time that happened. Uh, but I've been tearing the town a new asshole. There was nothing like being Enzo Amore when Enzo Amore was white hot. I don't care what anybody says. They can't sit there and they can't tell me they've ever experienced it. They don't know. You guys can't understand. You're the most like punched in the face, lovable character on the show at the time with the number one merchandise sales. So anytime you go to the bar, it's how you doing? Can we buy you a drink? You know what I'm saying? Everybody wants to give you free food now. Everybody wants to give you free drinks. People want to give you free clothes and free sneakers. They want to invite you to the Hollywood parties, to the Maxim Hot 100 party, and you're a rookie in the WWE. Like nothing can. You're hanging out with Drake and The Weeknd, and I didn't, bro. What are you talking about? I was a guy that couldn't even get into the fucking bar a few fucking years ago. Now I'm out here doing this. Like fucking forget it. It was down to blow up at some point into flames because I was just I was living the life and drinking in every town we went to. And fuck all, man. It was wild. But I had a night in Mexico where I was late to the bus by like 5 minutes, but you know, and I get in there and I knew it was going to be shit rolling. And then we were in Dallas or some shit when we landed, and Taker was there just by happen chance. He came to Raw to be backstage because we were in Dallas. I don't think he did anything on the show, and I showed up to the arena, and I'm already for the shitstorm that's going to be HR or Hunter, Vince. And I'm like, all right, what's going on, right? And Taker pulled me aside and was like, So you've been fucking showing up late for the bus. What the fuck's wrong with you? You know what I mean? And I was like, oh, fuck. So here's what happened, bro. One of the boys and me, he told me if I get some girls to wake his ass up. So I brought 3 girls back to the fucking hotel, two too many for me. And I fucking went into the fucking house. I banged on his room. He was wearing a Bane mask when I bust through the door, like he was sleep apnea hooked up. He's one of the big boys, one of the big brothers. And I threw one of these fucking fake BBW but Mexico City girls out there on him. And I did him the favor and I said, motherfucker, wake up in the morning and make sure I'm on the bus. And if you don't see me on that bus, you make sure you come get my ass, bro. And I threw the girl on him and then I fucking left. And as far as I'm concerned, it's not my fucking fault. It's one of the good brothers' faults. Okay. So so Taker looked at me like he couldn't believe what I had just come to him with for my reason for why I was late for. I put the heat for being late on the boys because I got them laid and they were supposed to smarten me up and they were on the bus and they didn't come get me. So he looked at me and he said, "You don't get it. Fuck." And he walked away. I swear to God, you could ask him. He'd tell you. And I thought about it. And I was like, bro, that was probably the end of my career when he looked at me. It was like, you don't get it.
I got in trouble one time by Mr. Brisco in South Africa for being late to a bus. He found me in a shower.
Yeah.
And a shower wasn't running.
The shower wasn't running. He comes in my room and he goes, "You're late for the bus." And I'm sitting there and I've got my hands up on the shower and I said, "I'm sorry, Mr. Brisco. I'm taking a shower. Just give me a minute and I'll come straight down to the bus." I had a long night, And he looks at me and goes, "There's no water running." And I had no idea how long I've been in the shower or anything. I'm just standing in the shower buck naked. I got no water.
Holding up the wall, Enzo, and he
seen,
said, I'm doing a shower. I said, turn the shower on, bro. There's no water.
I've seen a few of the boys wrapped in sheets getting carried from room to the next room, bro. We had a good way of that shit never came out. And it's like, I say that about AEW and fuck it, I'll say it out loud. I don't care. I got nothing to lose. You know, they aired that fucking footage of like a fight that CM Punk had backstage with like another talent, and then they used it as like story in their shit or whatever. And I was like, bro, you know how many times shit like that probably happened for us backstage that no one ever said shit about it? Like
No.
CM Punk probably had that happen to him like 50 times in his career in the WWE, and nobody ever said shit about it. We never mentioned it, never came out amongst the boys. I saw things happen, and there was just a code, man. There was a code, and there was just boys got into fights with the boys, man. We were all stuck on a bus together all the fucking time, man. And it's like you just didn't talk about it. And so it was just kind of crazy that I saw that happen, and I hated that. But talking about people that are all getting along and doing great these days, Fourth Rope, the company I work for, JBL, you did a spot with us.
You guys are awesome.
You guys,
I had a blast. I've been with you guys a couple times. One time I was with Godfather, and we had both had a great time. But I came down to Austin, Texas with you guys. Those guys, what great guys.
bro,
And great show, and the shows are great. I love what they do.
thank you so much, bro. So, unbeknownst to probably most people, I'm a producer. I produce the show, right? And I'm the only producer. When you came, I asked you to produce a match.
Mhm.
And here's a funny shoot, Brisco. Wait till you hear this. I asked JBL if he will produce the hardcore match that the guys that are having on the show, right? He goes, yeah, no problem, right? The match goes out through the curtain, and the guys immediately go to the fucking screens and throw each other into the screens in the middle of the match.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The fucking guy, Brett Lauderdale at the time, who was renting the building we were working with at the time, blows up and it's like, what the fuck? You hit the fucking video screens, right? I look back and JBL's just nowhere to be found.
Oh my god! Like you got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. They wanted to do something.
I don't think I saw you the rest of the night. I think you Irish powdered on me.
Oh yeah,
Probably
yeah.
had an autograph signing.
Oh, God. Yeah.
But that was
there
a,
goes your
hey,
plan.
that was I learned the hard way as a producer that day that there's needs to be talent meetings and we need to disclose certain things like no bumping over here, no hitting this, don't touch the light fixtures, you fucks, don't touch the screen.
Yeah, it's $50,000 light
I
fixture.
can't imagine how many of those nights Vince McMahon has had in his fucking life.
Oh, yeah. When something gets broke and all of a sudden you got to pay for it. I mean, just
Oh wow. Goodness
So,
gracious.
so Enzo, you didn't work any India coming in. So, how did you get to Florida Championship Wrestling at the time, FCW?
I made a video that went viral on YouTube at the time. And at the time, my strength coach was from college football training Triple H. And when he started training Triple H, he showed him the video of me and that was on Barstool Sports that went viral. And it was me talking shit about Victor Cruz and the New York Giants going to the NFL because I played against him in high school and I had all these highlights and it's me showing my highlights versus his and how I should be in the NFL playing for the Giants in the Super Bowl. And it was stupid. And then the video of me talking shit about the Jersey Shore guys goes viral on Barstool and he shows those videos of me training. I was lifting weights and talking shit. That's what I was doing. I had like, a 585 pound squat. I bench pressed three, whatever, three plates on each side plus a quarter is. So
365.
365. I bench pressed 365. I did 225 for 28 reps. I did like an insane box jump, 58 inches jumping through the air.
So you were doing a combine type video.
I did a combine,
Yeah.
exactly. Like a combine, because I just got done playing college football and we just compiled all my workouts for college football. And then I just put them with me talking shit at the end on the Jersey Shore cast. And that's honestly how it got happened. They saw
Wow.
that. They're like, he's an athlete and he just cut a promo on the Jersey Shore as if he's a wrestler. Let's give him a tryout down in FCW. So Triple H called me. I got a phone call from him. He said, we're going to give you a tryout. And there's no guarantees. I'm not doing you any favors. And I'm not even telling anybody that I'm sending you down there whatsoever. When you just get down there, just be humble, shake everybody's hand. And that's all you have to do. And I was like, okay. So the only advice I got to get into the pro wrestling business was don't speak unless you're spoken to, shake everybody's hand. And you can never do enough shutting the fuck up. And that was it. That was all Triple H said. And I was like, all right. So I went down to FCW. I had a tryout. I cut a promo in front of Dusty Rhodes. Dusty Rhodes pulled me aside when promo class was over. And he said, you could be good, you could be bad, or you could be different. And you're fucking different. And I'm gonna let you know that I'm gonna go ahead and co-sign you. So then after that, I'm waiting like 5, 6 months to hear whether or not I could get signed. And they finally called me, and I started on July 1st of 2012 with Charlotte Flair, Mojo Rawley, Baron Corbin are notably the names who came out of that class. All these other people that came in and out got fired. There was probably like 25, 30 of us. And Mojo made it. He was in the NFL. Baron Corbin made it. He was in the NFL. Charlotte was Ric Flair's daughter. And then me, I was off of a fucking moving truck in New Jersey called Paramus, called Paramus Moving. So I had to work a little harder. I had to learn how to set up the ring. I had to do all those things. They didn't want to give me a name. Mojo got a name right away. Baron Corbin got a name right away. Ashley Flair became Charlotte right away. Man, I was like, the day I debuted at NXT, I got told my name was Enzo Amore. And it was one of the best days I ever had because I had been holding out for so long because I'm that asshole that would say no when they give you a name. Somebody came up to me like, oh, here's your options for names. So I was like, those aren't it. I'm not doing that. They wanted me to be like Nino Jones and some other shit. And I was like, I'm not fucking Nino Jones. I was like, I'm fucking Enzo Amore, bro. Get that fucking shit out of my face. And,
So how did Enzo Amore come about? Did they made it
I
up?
wanted to be my real name is Eric Arndt, and I wanted to be EA. So I wanted to keep my name EA. And everybody called me EA. That was my nickname. I wasn't called Eric. I wasn't called E. I was called EA. So that was as everybody. If Big Cass sees me, he calls me EA. If Kevin Owens sees me, he calls me EA. If Finn Balor sees me, he calls me EA. If Bayley sees me, she calls me EA. So like that was what I was known as when I walked through the door. I was EA all day, and I would just cut these promos on YouTube that got viral, and then I got signed to the WWE. And I never had a match, and I got put in a spot because Dusty Rhodes was in a meeting before the show, and he pitched me to go out there and do the job and get heat on the microphone against a guy named Mason Ryan, who was supposed to be the next
The
Ryback. Batista,
Batista.
yeah, Batista. So that shit worked ass backwards. It was supposed to be for Mason Ryan. It turned out that night was for fucking Enzo. How you doing? I, I went out there with a microphone, and all the boys stood up and clapped in the back locker room curtain sellout. All locker rooms there clapping. Now they had been hearing me cut promos for 6 months, and they know that and I've been hungry to have a match, and I've never had a match. And everybody just wanted me to have a match. They're like, give them a fucking match. Just so happens that my first match is at NXT. I'm just debuting on TV to do a job, but I get a microphone before I go to the ring against Mason Ryan. And when their boys stood up and clapped in the back, John Cena saw that, and he came. He was there to hold the house. He was booked in the dark segment for this NXT taping,
Right.
one of our like fifth or sixth tapings that we'd ever had. And he came in to keep the house and keep him there for 4 hours because we had four tapings to do. And he was going to come out in the dark segment, and he had no plan. And when I got out of the ring, one of the guys, Rob Naylor, came up to me and was like, I thought I was getting fired because I thought I had my tights on and I was going to get fired. I just lost. I mean, I'm going to go explain this to my friends, but I got a bar story at least back home that when we go watch this 8-second squash match that I had, like I did it, guys. I was in the WWE. I had a match. I told you I was going to do it. You fucking guys didn't believe me. You know what I'm saying? So I had the match, and it was like a charity. I felt like Triple H was doing me a favor. Like I said, brought you in here, or at least gonna get you a match before we fucking fire you. And then I went out there, and John Cena asked me to come to the ring with him in the dark segment. And I was so green, I booked Big Cass in that moment. I was like, hey, Dusty had me and Big Cass doing promos together in promo class, but we never got booked to be in a match together because the coach Bill DeMott and NXT writers had other plans for Cass, who had come along a little further than me. He had been there for like 2 years, and I had only been there for like 6 months. So they wanted Cass to do something, and they didn't want to put me with him. But Dusty was putting us together in promo classes if I could be like his manager. Just so happens I debut before Big Cass. What a fucking match! And I just get killed. And then that night we're in the ring with John Cena. Next thing you know, he's with Damian Sandow, who's supposed to be smart, the character, the intellectual savior of the masses. And I was like, how many dimples are on a golf ball, Sandow? You don't know. There's 168 dimples on a golf ball. You know how many there are on my hind end? Zero. You want to know why? Because I'm hard body. You know what you are? You're SAWFD, soft. John Cena was like, what'd you call him? And Big Cat went soft. And I went soft. And next thing you know, the crowd went soft. And from that day forward, that NXT crowd, that Orlando crowd that we built all over the state of Florida, that that crowd knew the guy selling merchandise and selling tickets. And now they're in the crowd the night that I debut. And they happen to see the next thing you know, me and Cass, guys that have never debuted on NXT, they know us. We are personable in the parking lot. We talk to all the fans after every fucking show. And I highly recommend anyone who is in NXT gets to know the crowd because they can change your fucking life. So they changed my life before I even debuted. I said soft. John Cena repeated it. They embraced me with love all over Orlando as a baby face, working with Cass and a tag team, and I was hand-fed matches and opportunities that were probably great for my career and bringing me along at the appropriate speed and level. An opportunity that probably a guy like Logan Paul will never fucking have. He'll never have that opportunity to go out there and have all these matches with veterans and guys who are trying to make it and learning and the producers and having, be produced and learn to be produced and take acceptance to whatever booking or opportunity or loss you're going to have. It was just like I see a lot of guys on the indies and I deal with it at fourth rope and it's awesome and it's a good place to be as a producer, but you just know that when you're navigating the waters of the indies, like even with bookings, like this guy ain't going to take a booking with this guy because he works for AEW and he works for TNA, and I can't have them on the same match lose to each other. So I got to add a third wheel that's not signed to AEW or TNA and the triple threat that can take the loss. It's just like for booking examples. And it's just knowing that when we came in, you were just so eager to have the opportunity. You did whatever the fuck they asked you to do, and you did it tenfold. And now there's a different lay of the land, and people have fucking options. And some of them, they don't even dream to be in WWE. And it's kind of crazy. Maybe they want to go to AEW, or, maybe they want to go to TNA, so New Japan. There's different flavors of ice cream. But when I grew up, I loved WWE. That was the product I loved. And I think at Fourth Rope, that's what we're really trying to give people is a balance without burying the business, without burying, staying true to it, man. I hate when guys don't sell. I hate when they run high spots and it just and it does, and they lose the story in the midst of it. And they just go from move to move. I just have to commend the main event we had at Fourth Rope in Philly. It was Cha Cha Charlie versus Zilla Fatu. And if you know Zilla Fatu and you know Cha Cha, which maybe some people do, maybe most people don't, but Zilla Fatu is Umaga's son, the late
Right.
great Umaga. He's our heavyweight champion. And on paper, you would never think that Cha Cha could beat him. And you would never think that that match, maybe with a guy that we consider a mid-carder, quote unquote, maybe here at Fourth Rope, he's in our opening matches sometimes. He's fought. People like him. He's a babyface. Bro, they had that match, and you thought Cha Cha could win, and the crowd was behind both guys. And we got "Let's go Cha Cha, let's go Zilla." We got Cha Cha chants. We got "Zilla's gonna kill you, Cha Cha's gonna kill you." It wasn't a "This is awesome" chant. We didn't build to a pop for a "This is awesome" chant. We got both guys over, and they were chanting their catchphrases, and they were chanting both their names, and they did it through selling and putting each other over and building each other's credibility and not burying the next move by doing the next move. And I'm so fucking proud to be a producer, to be working with Smoke Dizza and have produced that match. I feel like that one to me is like I'm sitting here as a producer now. It's a different fucking ball cap that I'm wearing. And that was a chef's kiss of a main event that they fucking went out there and put on. And I can't do it for them, and I could never tell them how to do it. And because you guys have been producers on the back end, when you're a part of something, when you're watching it on the screen in Gorilla and you're hearing the fucking reactions, and me and Smoke Dizza are on headsets, and we're fucking going nuts, and we're so happy that they were able to pull it off and have a fucking banger. And I opened the night with the flyweight title, which is the spot I like to be in as a producer. Get me on, off, and out of the way so now I can focus on the fucking rest of the show, which is a unique spot to be in too, to be a wrestler and producer and producing your match in the main event. I remember watching in WWE, Joey Mercury and Jamie Noble were doing double duty producing on road shows. One would take maybe Raw and the other SmackDown, or both would be on it. But they were working with Seth Rollins, and they were in main event matches like every single fucking night as the duo. Like they were the henchmen. They were you guys. They were you and Pat. When Jamie Noble and I loved that.
I used to ask Jamie and Joey, who's Pat and who's Brisco.
Exactly. See, I love how we worked into this. I love how this whole conversation came wrapping back.
So what was the answer?
Both of them would be Brisco.
That's great.
That is great, man. Yeah, they were the Stooges, man.
Yeah.
And they were Seth
They were
Rollins.
good too. They were really
They
good.
were great,
They
man.
were
I
really
didn't want
good.
it to end. I loved it when it kept going, but I don't know if either man wanted to do it. I don't
Jamie
know.
Noble is a national treasure. That
And
guy,
he is, man.
he is so
man.
entertaining.
Brain for the business as well, right? So you know that if you know both Joey Mercury and Jamie Noble, they both have brilliant minds for pro wrestling.
Right,
And they help produce and coach
Yeah.
me. So they're awesome. And I would watch them now, okay? Produce a whole show, running around with their head cut off being producers, and then run out there in their suits and just slide knee pads on and go run out there and have main event matches. And I would remember watching, being so green and thinking to myself, like, holy shit, how are they doing that? Like, how are they? They got so much responsibility. They showed up to the building first. They fucking got the card together. They got the times together. They're on headsets. They're telling everybody their finishes. They're monitoring what's going on. They might have to cut a promo with Seth. Then they fucking run out there. They cut the promo with Seth that leads into a match later on. And they're wrestling out there. They run back. They're on the headset. Then they go out there and they're in the main event. And I was like, bro, that's work, right? Now, I have no idea how the evolution of the business has led to it, but I had found myself in Vegas in a battle royal that you produced one of the matches on JBL. And I entered the battle royal number one. And like my childhood dream, I go over in a Royal Rumble with 20 other competitors like Shawn Michaels. And I wrestle, I go out there and I go in number one, and then I win the whole fucking thing, and then I run back through Gorilla, and then I get right back on the headsets, and I'm producing the next match after I was just in the ring for over an hour. So it was crazy because it was the inaugural flyweight championship. We had this for this title I have here, beautiful title. But I win that thing and I'm producing the show. I did not get to enjoy the match, did not get to enjoy the night, did not get to enjoy wrestling. I think I just got in there and got out of there and just I sold. I don't remember if I had any spots. I don't think I did, but it was like running around with my head cut off that night, man. And now I've gotten into a rhythm with it and I love it. And it's so different than it was when it first happened, when I first got into this, being able to sit there. And when we first broke in with Fourth Rope to doing production, just having Smoke Dizza on a headset, me on a headset, relaying to the referees, talking with our guy Kurt Adonis, who helps us out with stage and production and all the things that go into it. Like learning that part of it. I had seen it done by WWE guys and I knew what it took. So it was like, I've seen this shit done at the highest level. Like, why am I going to let anybody else come in here and do it? I'll fucking do it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's
People just don't understand the time and effort. I mean, I can totally relate to what you're saying. When I was a student with Pat, I was hardcore champion. I had to do the hardcore championship. I had to produce a match. Then I had to go out and be with student with Vince. So, and then I had to set it to monitor and monitor the producer matches on the monitor there too during grilling. So it was you're just busy. You're exhausted at the end of the night,
night
right?
just flies by. Next thing
Yeah,
you know, the night's over. And
yeah.
it's like I
I
didn't
used
even
to tell Kevin Dunn the greatest moment of the day is when I hear that 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, because then I know there's a time frame involved in it. During the course of the day, time just drags by because you're so damn busy. But
it's
then when
crazy.
that 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, you're on the air, you got 2 hours and 15 minutes to do everything you got to do, and it's over with.
Yeah, I was so blessed to have these opportunities in doing this. Lamo, hey, here, come here. Say hello real quick. I'm gonna put you over and you're gonna get 2 seconds. Look at this young, good-looking fucking lad here.
Yup, the Irish.
Oh,
Home on the Irish.
All right. Yeah, he's got a
oh,
big Irish game today. Hey,
Yeah,
this
we're about to
guy,
qualify.
tell him who you are. You're a wrestler from Ireland trying to make it,
All the
right?
way from Ireland. My name's Lamo. This boy's got me. We're training up at State of Fitness Boxing Club every day, and we're here to make it.
All right, get out of here.
Yup.
good
Uh,
looking
my
kid, good
young,
looking kid there.
that's my young boy. He looks like Zach Efron. He's from Ireland.
Whack Efron.
Yeah, Whack Efron. They call him Whack Efron. But Finn Balor worked over in OTT. It's like cool because with Hunter taking over WWE and Vince being gone, they, like I said, they opened the doors to more other. We were just talking about the old territories. Offa having a
Right,
call. Linda McMahon threw
right.
off his wife to get him. Now, yeah, Hunter opened the doors, and the OTT is a company out in Ireland. Shout out Joey Cabrera out there at OTT. I wrestled with him in NXT. He was really a promoter who ran shows, had a great gimmick, and got some time in NXT, but decided he wanted to go back home to fucking Ireland. And he's a promoter there. And he had a show with Finn Balor, Judgment Day, JD McDonough. They all went over there and wrestled on an indie in Ireland. And at the time, the kid who was their champion is that guy, Lamo. And Limo he's hungry. He's willing to leave a little island to chase his dreams and try to make it. Finn Balor co-signed him when he was up there. Told me I said look out for this kid. He's good. And now I'm just trying to help him out. So I get in the ring like every day. I go on TikTok and I talk about what I see in wrestling that I do and don't like, and why like it's simple. the little things that are happening that I get in the ring every day when I'm working with a young talent. And it's like, you poke them in the eyes and then you punch them. And it's like you hit the ropes. It's like, well, fuck, you just poked them in the eyes. Like, you shouldn't be able to see. Why are you running?
Yeah.
Why is the strikes that you're throwing connecting? You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
just little shit that and I started doing something that most guys, I don't know if they do it anymore because they just don't feel like it, but I just wrestle on the fly. I just go in the ring and what I try to do is I go out with a finish, which will be like, I do my finishing move and it'll come out of this move. And maybe so I'll tell them I do a flatliner wrestling move. I do a DDT off the second rope. It comes like this. I can do a drop kick. I can do an enziguri. I can do a super kick. I do a top rope cross body. If I go to the top rope, I might say flare me off. Um, any strikes you do a big boot, you do anything, and I'll get what they do real quick. I'll be like, oh, I do a big boot. Also do a drop kick. I build to a move. I do a power slam. So, all right, cool. Once I get those bullet points, I just fucking see you out there and I just call it in the ring. Um, and I think that art is probably lost amongst my generation. And the reason why I started doing it is because when I was in NXT, I found that the most uncomfortable situations that we were put into as talent that really crafted and molded people and gave people break they broke people in both ways. They made people's life because I watched Rusev one day, we're in FCW, and the hardest things that you could do is when you have all the talent surround the ring and they randomly, you're on the chopping block. Hey, you might get fired today, okay? And we're just going to call two talent to the ring in front of all the boys and have you guys work. You guys got 10. You're the heel, you're the face. Let's go. And all of a sudden, you're in NXT and you are Braun Strowman, and they just called you in the ring with Chad Gable because Braun Strowman, look at him, he's a fucking monster. Chad Gable's a fucking Olympian. He can fucking wrestle his ass off. You can't have a fucking decent match with Chad Gable or go out there and have a fucking wrestling match. And you might not make it, okay? And the next thing you know, Braun goes out there and we're all sitting around NXT and we're sitting around the ring and this is big high pressure situation, right? And those guys go out there and tear the place a new asshole and get the boys going nuts for their fucking match. And they get us by the balls. And next thing you know, you see Braun Strowman on fucking TV in the Wyatt family a week later, right? Then there's other guys that had that same match, and a week later they got fired. So when you get called to the ring in front of all the people who are smart to the business, you got to go out there and work on the fly. And one of you just has to call it. The other guy's got to shut the fuck up. That's the way a match is really going to work because if
And
a
you
guy
got to decide that while you're in the ring, who's going to be the leader and who's not going to be the leader.
Yep. That's the way it goes because the guy who's painting the picture, he might be taking you somewhere and you might throw him off when you say do this or do that, or that ain't where I'm going. So,
Right.
let me know the moves you do and I'll go out there and I'll put them in all the right spots. And me personally, like I can hit all my moves on anybody. I do a baseball punch where I line it up like a pitcher and I kick you. I punch you. I do a field goal kick. So if you're on all fours, I'll kick you in the stomach and I'll line it up like a fucking field goal. If I get you out of a corner, I might do a bulldog. Anybody can take that little face bump, do a drop kick, and I'm never gonna lift you up over my fucking head. So you don't have to worry about that. And if I jump off the top rope, cross body, maybe, and all of these moves, a DDT, I can hit on anyone. And that's so important. I find that if you're going to work on the fucking fly and you're going to be able to not call it and you're just going to go out there and work with a guy, you're selling. Selling's the most important thing that we could ever do. You got to go out there and put everything over. So if I'm calling it to you and I just give you a buckle, it's not what's next. Put over the fucking buckle. I just threw you into a buckle. I might not have said shit. Fucking, how about sell it? Right? You know, um, so a lot of the times it's just I tell them, every spot ends with sell. Everything I call to you ends with sell. And as long as you're selling, we can never fuck up and we can never get lost. And I just started calling those matches on the fly. And I find if it's like one guy's up, one guy's down, it's easy back and forth. You know, it's a whole match is mini comebacks. So if I'm out there working on the fly and I know these little things that you do, I might just get you back up with something. You know, I'm beating you up. I get my baseball punch in, I get my dancing leg drop, and I get my fucking elbow drop, and all right, I get you back up and I bring you to a corner and I shoot you in and I go, all right, put up a boot, give me that flatliner. You know what I mean? So bang, you get the boot and I throw that right and you give me that flatliner, you're up now. So get your shit in, you know? And as long as you know I'm selling for you, then we can't fuck up. It's when guys get up and they start going, oh, wait, like what am I doing?
Yeah.
It's like,
Neck,
well,
one
that's
neck.
what happens when you forget a spot. That's when you're standing there in suspense. That's what happens when you don't have any spots. You'll never have that happen in your match.
How did the whole thing with Fourth Rope come about?
West Side Gunsmoke is at Philly WrestleMania through a concert in the street in Philly with wrestling fans through their merchandise product. They have a merchandise company called Fourth Rope. They make fly merch, vintage one of ones. They take all these great designs with pro wrestling. And the way you can look at it is Wu-Tang, the rap band, is known for, like Wu-Tang, the rap group, is known for synonymous with karate. They put all these like like in their music where a guy talks like the art of the dragon. And they did that, West Side Gun and Smoke Dizza, with pro wrestling. So they use all these wrestling, lines and wrestling bars in their song, and then they put in wrestlers. They name songs after wrestlers. They use their artwork on albums and shit like that. And we put Ted DiBiase on the cover of their album. And I just had Ted DiBiase bring out my title, the $1 million looking title, in Philly. So he would have like guys like Ted on the cover of his artwork and on the cover of his fucking albums and shit before he got into wrestling, like as a promotion. So Fourth Rope is just making noise with music and culture and T-shirts and hoodies and merchandise. And next thing you know, we do a show in Chicago and they're like, fuck it, bring a ring out. Like it's a concert, but we're just going to bring a ring out. And then we were there. We did the show in Chicago. We had a card and they brought in Anthem for the production end of the show for the very first one. And Anthem works with TNA. So Anthem owns TNA. They have the Toronto Blue Jays, I believe, or maybe the Maple Leafs, something. So it's one of their entities. And Carlos Silva is great. And he's been great with Fourth Rope. So they came in at around that same time. You know, timing is everything. With TNA gets
I didn't realize why Carlos was associated, because when I was down in Austin, Carlos was there. I like Carlos. Carlos is a nice guy.
Carlos is, he runs marathons, does triathlons, and
Yeah.
I connect with him over running because I'm a passionate runner, and I have to be because I smoke. And if you know about me, you know I'm a chain smoker. I'm fucking smoking cigs, right? But I can run a fucking half marathon. I can't run a full marathon right now. I can't run one right now, but I want to sign up for the New York City Marathon, and I think when I'm out there. I think I like right now, I think I could push the New York City Marathon just because it's a different ball game. You're playing when you're out there. But when I'm on a treadmill, the most I've ran is 14. I've ran 14 miles straight this past year, 2025. So I try to get 6 miles in every 2 to 3 days, just an hour running on a treadmill. And then sometimes I'll push it past it, like go to like 10, 12. And if I get to 10, 12, I'm just going to go for the 13.2. Because why wouldn't you? Like what? I just ran 11, 12. I could push another 2.2 and get myself to 13.2. So when I get off this fucking treadmill and everybody in this gym is looking at me like, what the fuck? And I'm dripping sweat. And I work out with Crunch Fitness where we look at Manhattan. So I'm on the water on Frank Sinatra Drive looking at Manhattan. And you talk about, being inspired. And it's like, I feel like we're Fourth Rope. That's our goal. Like we want to wrestle in Madison Square Garden. And with the right card, with the right musicians, we can do it. But the craziest shit in the world is, bro, we just sold out Philly, and we did it off the backs of Fourth Rope, a company that has been about a year running. We've done 11 shows total, one of them being a concert, the other 10 having wrestling on them. You were a part of a couple, I believe. The one in Austin was kind of our gangster, no holds barred. Wild things were said on the microphone by everyone and cursing and I think we've shied away from that. I definitely have as a producer. I just like, we have kids in the crowd and we do put on a product that's edgy, but we're not doing it with blood and guts on like every fucking match. We had one match on this past card as a producer. It means so much to me when, we have a show that There's one match that's no DQ, no disqualification, falls count anywhere on the card. Nobody went to the floor the whole night. You know what I'm saying? They set it up for those guys. And what a difference it makes when you're watching the show, when you listen to the crowd and the reactions that we got. Sandman came out with his full entrance in another match. He was about the only thing that we really featured that wasn't fourth rope. So ECW got their ode with the Sandman entrance. But you just heard fourth rope chants, and you heard people really wanting to see the guys that we built in under a year in the company, like Joe Alonzo. Right now, this kid on the mic, he's getting so much heat. Like as a booker and a producer, like I'm looking at him and salivating. Like I'm not the booker. Smoke isn't West Side Gun booked the show. But I know that they know that he don't need anybody right now to go out there through the curtain, and we can make a baby face with Joe right now because he's getting so much heat on the microphone, and as a heel, he goes out there and he does the right things as a heel, and to get not cool shit to get over, and we can really use that on our show to get over a young baby face that we want to make right now, and then knowing that we just did this with Cha Cha and Zilla, and we didn't need the Hardy Boys this past time. The Hardy Boys are our tag team champions at Fourth Rope. They had a booking conflict. We sold out the show without even announcing a single match. So
Wow.
we've been able to do it, but more importantly, deliver when we have to. Because
Yeah.
when we go out there and we have the matches, it's on Cha Cha, it's on Zilla, it's on me, it's on Starboy Charlie and the girls that are killers. We had a couple AEW talent and a couple TNA on this past one, but like literally a couple. I think it was like three people total. We had Mara Sade, who's lights out, beautiful girl, killer in the ring, does an awesome moonsault off the top rope. And we got this guy, I don't know if you've ever heard of him, named Ninja Mac, man. And he does backflips to the ring. And he looks like a
He does backflips through the ring.
he can backflip across an entire fucking room onto the
Wow.
ring.
I've
And
seen the videos of him. Jerry,
Have you?
it's amazing.
Gotta be.
and dude, that's another thing. Like as a producer, like that is a dream case scenario. We put him in the spot. It's like, hey, buddy, get your backflips in and take it the fuck home because you are the most over thing that we have on this show. It's the most awesome thing to see on the show. And when it's over, it needs to be over because it's fucking great. And I'm telling you, every time he does his shit and he goes out there, we can't get the people any fucking hotter for a baby face right now at Fourth Rope. They fucking love him. And it's another thing where it's like we've got some players that ain't household names on TNA, WWE, and AEW programming. We got Zilla too. We got Cha Cha Charlie. We got Ninja Mac that I just mentioned, and me and this girl named Nikki Blackheart, who she just had a WWE tryout. And let me tell you, like, bro, that's a producer's dream. This girl Nikki Blackheart is a fucking bro. She comes through the curtain and the people are going nuts and cheering for her, and they've never even heard of her or seen her before. You just look at her, and she has thighs like fucking quads like Big E Langston. She's the most beautiful woman in the face. She's got huge biceps, everything about her curves, just built like a shit brick house, who like China, but beautiful, will run through you. And so when you see her, she's a star, right? And I know she just worked with Bailey and had a little tryout. I hope it went great. I'm planning on losing her, so I'm planning on not having her on our shows, but hopefully for a little while we can continue to get Nikki Blackheart at Fourth Rope. She's fucking awesome. She looks like a star. And Joe Alonzo gets so much heat on a fucking microphone. It's brilliant, and we've got guys that are driving themselves to the show. All these shows have put themselves in a position where, hey, we have a spot on the card, and we need somebody. And a few guys have stepped up. Now they're booked every single time. You know what I'm saying? So like we're not bringing in all this talent from all over the place. It's Fourth Rope. You're watching Fourth Rope. You come to a Fourth Rope show, you know what to expect. You know the Fourth Rope wrestlers that you're going to see. And we are doing it standing on, putting on a great show and having a great mix of music also. So like, when you come to our show, it's the first 10 minutes is music. And we give you a new artist at the beginning usually. And then we give you an hour and 20 minutes of wrestling. And then we give you another half hour of music, 20 minutes. Um, and we take it home quick. And none of the matches are more than 15 minutes usually. Um, we get some squash matches on the card. We had the opening match went over with a fucking backslide. Come on, JBL. Come on, man. Give me something, bro. Huh? Come on, man. I sent them boys out there. I said, I need you to run full fucking speed, do your flips, and when this shit's over, it needs to end in a backslide.
I love it.
Oh, we set up the night, man. So we have some roll-ups in our matches that set up that 1, 2. Oh, well, you've seen two people win with a roll-up tonight. You think it can happen the rest of the fucking night. So we'll build that pop in. And we have, like I said, squash matches where we have giants come out and fucking kill guys. Like I would never look at if you gave me a big cast, he's going to win a championship on my show. Like we are not reinventing the wheel. This kid Josh Bishop and Zilla Fatu, they look like fucking men. You know what I mean? I don't take a guy who's gonna fucking, break in half when he fucking hits the ropes and fucking put a strap on him because he can do the coolest fucking flips and I want to say like no, we sell appropriately here, just like you would in the WWE. Like I'm not putting over fucking Hook the same way I put over fucking Big Show. Sorry. You know what I'm saying?
And where can you watch Fourth Rope and your product?
Fourth Rope is on YouTube, man. And that's the thing. It's reinventing the wheel, bro. Why? It's on every little kid's phone. It's on every person's phone. You can find it on your computer. Every TV comes with YouTube nowadays. It's about working with advertisers and sponsors and finding the right people that want to rub hands with us that we've been able to find. And we've been able to work with incredible brands. And as you know, my boss smokes fucking weed. You know what I'm saying? And he's got weed sponsorships.
My partner does too.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, hey, we're the company where you can come when you walk through Gorilla, you're gonna see West Side Gun and Smoke Dizza smoking a blunt. Like you're in the middle of your wrestling match, and rather than come through the curtain and get your asshole ripped by Vince McMahon, hoping and shit in your pants you're gonna lose your job, it's usually Smoke Dizza standing there with a lit blunt. Fucking awesome. High five.
Godfather's backstage me in Vegas, and when he walked in, he smelled around. He goes, "I'm in the right place."
Yeah,
Oh.
man. I'm telling you.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, man, I am in the right place. I'm in the best place I could ever be in. The guys are taking care of me. West Side Gun Smoke is a
How often do you have your
work.
events, Enzo?
Um,
How often?
we do one once a month. I don't know if they've made an announcement just yet, but let's just say I believe the next city is Boston. And I don't want to say what date exactly, even though I believe I know it. But man, you guys are always welcome anytime you want to come, anytime you want to do anything, JBL. I know you've been fucking working out and getting in the ring and shit, man, and I see it. And you are the window and the door is always open here.
Thank you. I really enjoyed it. You guys are great. I enjoyed everybody that was there. I really had a good time at both shows I was at.
That's kind of the evolution of a business that's so insane. It's like if you could make room for the people that play video games, that do video game wrestling, which look at, there's a place for it. There's nothing wrong with it, and I enjoy it. As I enjoy WWE product per se, like that would be my flavor of ice cream. But there's people that just want to see wrestling moves hit, like hit the fucking button and do an actual video game out there. You know what I'm saying? And it sells out arenas. So who the fuck am I to say it's wrong? There's a place for it. There's a place for it. That's not what we want to be at Fourth Rope. We want to give you that maybe somewhere on the card, but we're looking to be sports entertainment and compete with the big dogs at the highest fucking level without you watching our show and seeing holes in it. And I see those fucking holes when I watch that product, and I don't like it. And I don't ever want to see it here at Fourth Rope, where like if you're fucking over, like, and you get the people behind you and you can get we're never going to tell you not to be great, not to go out there and be great. We want that on our show. So I'm never going to take an AEW guy and tell him not to go do his shit. Like fucking, if you come on our show and you're AEW talent, like expect to go do your AEW shit, right? You know what I'm saying? But with a lot of the talent, the young guys that we're working with and some of the people that are coming up, it's fucking cool, bro. It's really, really cool. It's a dope spot to be in. And more importantly than anything, like just to be in a peaceful place where guys are just chilling and smoking pot and having a good time. And they got rappers and famous people there that are just, they're wanting to have a good time. There's no time for drama and storyline bullshit where girls are having drama, guys want to kill each other, and fucking no, it's like it's all the camaraderie is way high. The morale is way up, and your boss, he just might want to take you out to the strip club, go to the local shake ass, and throw fucking 20 grand in the air on girls. Like you're working for a fucking rapper. It's the best boss you could ever ask for, bro. Like some of these rappers, some of these wrestlers walk by him, and he just gives them clothes, and that clothes just happens to be worth more than the money they just made in the ring that night,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Enzo, thank you very much for joining us. What a
Oh
treat
man,
it is. I had so much fun seeing you and seeing you work and being with Fork Rope, and I had a great time with you in WWE. Really
Hey
happy
man,
that
that fucking ass kicking that you produced that I took was probably the worst ass kicking I've ever taken.
that's right. That's right.
Son of a bitch, man. You knew you were fucked when you walked in there that day if you were me. And they go, JBL's coming here to be a guest producer on this hardcore segment with
That's
fucking
right.
Enzo getting killed by Rusev. We had to go on an off location hotel, right? They filmed it, they chopped it up, and by the time they aired it, we were back in Gorilla, and we had ran back and forth from the building
Oh
to
yeah.
and it was live on TV, and you couldn't fuck it up. And God, I got beaten to hell in my
Oh my
own.
God, yeah. Because when you do those things, those that don't know, you got one chance. Because you got things are going to break, things are going to tear apart. You don't have a chance to do it twice. You don't have a chance to stop and edit and do something else. So I was telling Rusev, it's got to be very violent. It's got to be real, and it was. Oh my God!
Oh my
I was
God.
sitting there watching, going, "Oh my God, he's going to kill him! He's going to kill him!" When he
Bro,
got done, he goes, "How was it?" I go,
you gotta,
"Fantastic." Is he alive?
you motherfucker, bro. If you are me, bro, I'll tell you what, man. I think that wow, that was probably the worst ass kicking of all time. And I had no choice. I had no choice but to get up when it was over, no sell it, look at you and Hunter like, was that good? Are you guys okay with it? And you were both like, fuck yeah.
Oh yeah, it was awesome. It was awesome. Yeah,
I was like, son of a bitch. Now when I turned the corner, I could go selling shit and fucking how actually fucked up I was. But at the time, you just had to pretend like nothing hurt and get
yeah.
through
Because
it.
what people don't understand is there's nothing there that's fixed, really. I mean, we're breaking real stuff, and it's stuff that's really not supposed to be broken. So it's
right, yeah.
not like there's OSHA standards there. You got to fake this, fake
You
that.
just
There's
you talk
nothing fake.
And no one can ever really understand that. Like I weigh a buck 90. Rusev is a big, strong motherfucking
Yeah.
man. And behind the cameraman is JBL's intimidating ass standing there with a fucking cowboy hat on and a suit with his hand in his pocket with his fucking mouth watering, waiting to see an ass kicking. And I'm just standing there like, all right, well, I'm in my underwear and
That's
we've got
right.
one.
You were in your underwear because of the scene that we were doing.
We were in the scene. I had Lana in the hotel room, and she was setting me up to get my ass kicked by her husband, and she had me down to my underwear. And then
Right.
there's no, like you're staring down the barrel of a gun, knowing full well there's a bullet in the chamber, and
That's right. That's
you
right.
no choice but to
Yeah.
take this ass kicking.
Yeah.
And that bullet's on both sides of the camera.
And you
That's
had
right.
no
Yeah.
fucking choice but to get murder fucked and like it and get done with it and get ready to do it again eventually somewhere down the line because that was probably more or less like what it takes. And that's what this business is, right? Like
Yeah.
it's not for the faint of heart.
No.
You're never going to make it to where I am in a hotel room if you're not willing to be in that hotel room and take that ass kicking, and they know it, and they know it. They
That's
knew.
right.
They
That's
knew when
right.
they put me there, it was going to be a good old butt kicking, and I was going to sit there and take it.
And
So,
it was great. You guys did a great job.
but to that point, man, it's like you never get to that level without taking lickings and earning them, right? Because like that one, the next one's going to be worse, or the next one after that, something else is going to happen. That's fucked. If you can't get through that shit, then you don't deserve to fucking be there. So that's why I said when we go back to the FCW shit and the world that I came from in that kind of gritty environment of learning how to work and wrestle and Bill DeMott being a military fucking drill sergeant just beating the shit out of me. I was a crash dummy for Bill DeMott. That was fine with me. I had to learn somewhere, and it shouldn't have been easy. And you better fucking pay your dues, because by the time you get through Bill DeMott, you might find yourself in a fucking hotel room with JBL and Rusev in your fucking
in your underwear.
In
In
your
your
underwear.
underwear.
In your underwear. That's right.
You know what I'm saying, bro? So it's just
That don't sound right.
No, it doesn't.
I don't ever fucking hesitate on letting people know like this shit shouldn't be easy, and all it ain't for the faint of heart. And I know a lot of people hit the internet complaining about what people say and dot 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 dot. It comes with the territory, baby. And the world we live in now, the world we live in now ain't the world that it used to be. So you want to make it, you want to be a star, you better know you have a target on your back. You know you're going to face scrutiny, you're going to face adversity, and if you want to be a pro wrestler and you want to get to the WWE one day and you want to be a champion or some shit, like, dude, you better be okay with risking your life and fucking getting your ass kicked uh, every single time you show up to work. Like, because you just don't know when that day is, but you better be prepared for it. Fuck. So the guys that are making it now, I don't know what this business is going to look like in 5 years, 10 years on top in the WWE, quite frankly. I don't know. I don't know. Like, it's an experiment that's, but formulating and happening right in front of our very eyes. This product that is the WWE now has really become a world-renowned form of art that is highly respected, where we've pulled the veil back and allowed you to see some of the things that are the going-ons of this world. But beyond it, you also now, as we pulled the veil back, like, learn to appreciate what we do, right? Which is, the good with the bad. And I don't care who you are after watching Unreal for like 2 seconds. I don't care. You could be Triple H is probably, and I say that wholeheartedly, probably the best in the world at his job because of the experience that he's had and the proof in the pudding he's put with a product like NXT when I was there and creating it, and now where we're going with it. I don't know that there's anybody that can do it better, right? I don't know. But I don't give a fuck who you are after watching Unreal. Anyone who's in that room, that board room, sitting there going over creative is under a microscope and a lens and a scrutiny that we have never seen before. And it doesn't matter who's in that chair, they're going to get lit up and ripped a new asshole by the internet.
Sure.
Don't matter. Don't matter if you're the best in the world at that job. You are setting them up for fuck all. You are setting them up for failure the second they showed that. When I look up and I see a board with tiers of people's names and where they see them, and they're talking about Chelsea Green, and they're like, oh, well, she falls underneath and she's not going to put over these women. And like we as the boys never saw that. I didn't. We never been in that room to see where we all lie and where they see the card. And we knew, but we didn't know. And maybe you saw it, maybe you glanced at it, but I was never in those meetings. And it was kind of a look inside. And it was like, dude, I mean, even if they do the best job in the world and put on the best product and sell out hundreds of thousands, they're going to get ripped a new asshole. And this is just opening up the door for fucking scrutiny in our business that has never been seen before. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, and I don't know the answer. I mean, I'm not that comfortable with it, but they're drawing massive crowds, so maybe it works. I don't know. I swore I'd never be the guy that said, they shouldn't be doing that. Because I don't know, but they are doing business that we never dreamed of.
Yeah, and I think that Unreal does crazy numbers. Like, it's like probably
crazy numbers. Just got nominated for a bunch of awards and things. I mean, I have no idea. It's a new world. It's a new world.
It's the evolution of our business. And, and albeit I'll say it, like, I started getting in the ring on TikTok after watching the first episode of Unreal, because I watched the first episode of Unreal on a treadmill. I did not watch any other episodes, but I watched the first one and I said, holy shit, if they're going to just let us fucking talk about this shit now, like, I'm just going to get in the ring I'm in the ring every day with Lamo, like rolling around and showing them how to wrestle and going over things with them. I might as well just show people what we're doing. It's like, just roll the camera on that on TikTok and, like, fuck it. I don't care if you guys want to see it. I'm rolling around in the ring and I'm just talking about the biz, talking about wrestling on TikTok, and just, like, why not? It's like I'm burying somebody, but without burying somebody, I'll bury everybody by showing you, like, why are you fucking, doing this move when you know what I mean? Like, I don't have to point people out. I can show you what people are doing on TV. Why are you Irish whipping somebody from the corner and standing there and letting him run across the fucking ring? Like, run him into the buckle. Get 3/4 of the way across the ring when you let go of him. Or
Right.
and when you release him, be standing at the fucking buckle with him and
Your
put
old
him.
your old coach and I were talking about that today. Just letting somebody go and waiting for them to come to you.
Little things
Oh,
like
it's
that
unbelievable.
I hate when I see on AEW and TNA. I see it a lot.
Yeah. Well, Enzo, hey, thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate it, and
Thank you.
it's
Ah,
great
man,
to
I can talk to you guys all
and
day.
it's great to
Thank
see
you
you.
so much for letting me flap my gums, bro. I appreciate
Well,
you guys.
thank you, my friend. Thank
You
you.
guys are
Good luck
great,
to you.
man. You're legends in this business, and I'm so lucky to have gotten into this business to learn from some of the people of your generation. Uh, I hope none of it's lost on this new generation, and that they get around to listening to the interviews and watching the old tapes, because it's timeless. What you guys did is timeless, and I still watch it now. I'm sitting here watching you guys wrestle now.
Thank you.